Hi, everybody. It is Matt Brown from the Monday Night Huddle, and welcome everybody to our special edition 2023 NFL Draft Special. This is our second year we've done this. We are going to be following live the first round of the NFL Draft on ESPN DraftCast, and we are going to give you our expert analysis with my analysts, which I'll introduce here in a little bit. Tonight, not only are these young college football players' future is going to change forever, they're going to be multi-millionaires after tonight, folks. Not only is their lives are going to change, but the destiny of your favorite NFL team could change tonight as well. If your team makes the correct pick, they'll be set for the future. But if they make the wrong pick, it could set their franchise back decades. So very important tonight, especially this first round. We're going to be here till 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know how many picks we're going to get through that because at 10 p.m. it's my bedtime. I have to go to bed. But we're going to get through as many picks as we can with our analysts, and we're going to be actually watching the picks as they come in, giving you our analysis. Tonight, as you notice, I'm in a little different area tonight. Usually we have the Monday Night Huddle studio. Tonight we're in the Monday Night Huddle war room tonight. And look at this, guys. This is in my war room tonight. Look at this. We got Captain America, Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hulk all in my war room, ready to go to war with these NFL draft picks tonight, guys. That is tonight as well. Again, we have three great analysts. We'll bring them on in a second. Before we do that, though, we got a great video from one of our pals, Rob the Shark over RTS Sports Cards. He's been going through a lot lately, guys. If you guys are a fan of our show, you've seen him on our NFL draft show last year and most of our preview videos. He's a guy who always comes on and does a great job, RTS. So he did send a short video for us to watch. Let's watch it right now.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rob T. Shark here, RTS Sports Cards. Just wanted to come out for a minute and say hey, and let you guys know that I am still alive, unless you guys are talking to a ghost, which, depending on your mental sanity, you never know. But I just want to say, hey, I hope you guys are well. I hope to get back to everything soon. I'm not going to lie, it's been a very rough few months. I hope everyone's doing well. And, yeah, NFL. That's like football stuff. Thanks.
All right, that is our buddy Rob. He's been going through a lot of medical problems the last probably about half a year, so our wishes go out to him. Hopefully we can get him back soon because I always enjoy his sense and his analytical mind, especially his baseball prospects. Does great with baseball prospects. One of the best breakers. Check out RTS Sports Cards. With that said, this is what the NFL draft it's going to look at like tonight, guys. This is the ESPN draft cast. It might look a little bit different here once they start making picks and stuff, but it will show us the projected available, best fit, and then also we'll be talking about that as well. And we'll see the picks when they come up here as well. Of course, Carolina Panthers have the first pick of the NFL draft. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. Let's introduce our panelists tonight, guys. First, let's bring on a guy who's a veteran here. I'm talking about the one and only Card Shark Chris tonight. He is back for our second NFL draft special. Card Shark Chris, how you doing, sir? You must be on mute, sir. We cannot hear you.
Good looking out. It's been a while. Not used to that. Sorry. Boomer move there. I apologize. Yeah, I was definitely excited to be back. Thank you for having me back. Looking forward to tonight. I've got my MCDC shirt on. We're going to be biting kneecaps. So I'm excited. And go ahead.
I was going to say, what are you looking forward tonight? Or is there something you're really looking forward to tonight? You're going to be following the teams you're going to be following tonight are teams that have multiple picks. The Texans and of course your Lions are going to be following tonight as well. Mm-hmm. Anything in particular you're looking for tonight?
Texans for sure are going to go after a quarterback, and that second pick, I assume it's going to be something defensive, but we'll see. And what quarterback will it be? But the Lions, whoa, look at all the draft capital that they have this year. I'm excited to see what Brad Holmes does. So many different scenarios that could happen. And I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to unfold. You never know what they're going to do here in this draft. I expect some type of movement. There was a sneaky move last year to get Jameson Williamson. I apologize. So I would assume to look out for something like that this year.
Definitely. We'll bring you on here in a little bit to talk more about some of your teams coming up. Plus, if we have any Big Ten players, you know all the Big Ten players, right? You should have that.
Yeah, every single one of them. I spent Wednesday night. I did not sleep because I was studying the Big Ten media guides from 2022. So I'm prepared.
All right, that's what I like to hear, sir. All right, and coming over, one of our other analysts is Chris Ellis, the card guy. He is a rookie for the NFL Draft Show. Chris Ellis, the card guy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you, Matt?
I'm doing great. You had an autograph I wanted you to show everybody. Could you show that autograph that you pulled out of a box?
Whoops. There we go. There it goes.
There you go. That is a Mel Kiper autograph, right?
No, it's Todd McShay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Todd McShay autograph. That is really cool. And what product did you pull that out of?
NCAA Sweet Spot draft box back in 2011.
Oh wow!
Yeah, a while back.
That is a cool autograph to have in your collection. So, Chris Ellis, you're going to be following a lot of teams tonight: Cardinals, Bears, Seahawks. What are you looking forward to tonight in the NFL in this draft? It's going to be a pretty wild draft, from what I've heard. I want to know what your thoughts are going to be on this draft.
The Cardinals, huh? Well, there's two players I'm definitely interested in. I want to know where Bijan Robinson's going to go from Texas. Everybody's projecting him to go to New England, but I don't know if that's the right spot for him. Also, the tight end position is very good this year, so I'm looking forward to that. The Cardinals need a quarterback that studies the playbook, so hopefully, or maybe they can trade Kyle Murray for, to Baltimore and get their quarterback and just swap it that way.
Well, Baltimore just signed Lamar Jackson to a big extension here today.
Well,
you never know what's going to happen on the NFL draft. That's the thing. You never know what's going to happen, Chris Ellis. So thanks for coming on. We'll be coming back to you pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Our other member of our team is Keith White, and Keith White is not on yet, but he should be on very shortly. Keith White is actually one of our wrestling, not a historian, but wrestling not a podcast. He used to be a wrestling podcast, but he's in charge of TNT Games. He'll be on very shortly. So let's go ahead and take a look at this ESPN Draftcast right here. This is what the ESPN Draftcast will look like. As you can see, it shows Carolina is on the clock. Their needs are basically everything. The Carolina Panthers need everything, folks. There's no two cents about it. They need everything. Best available is Bryce Young. Best fit is Tyree Wilson. Keith will be coming on hopefully any second now, so he can start talking about that. Before we do that, let's bring back Card Shark Chris. I want to talk about these two quarterbacks. And you're a big guy. Tell me about C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. What are your thoughts about him?
I think C.J. Stroud, I think he has a phenomenal arm. I think he can read read a defense really well. I think he's a very good leader. When you look at the games that he lost at Ohio State, he lost to the Big Ten champions and two college football playoff teams in Michigan. They took the national champion down to the wire. Like, I see C.J. Stroud as a big-time quarterback. However, Bryce Young, I think, played in a more traditional NFL system. And I think he had more talent around him because obviously he went to Alabama. But I think playing in the SEC probably played up against a little bit better talent week to week across the board, maybe. So I think, and again, Bryce Young didn't end his career, real strong. But I see him as being a very solid pick. I think because C.J. Stroud didn't beat Michigan, and a few other things. He is mobile, but not super, super, super mobile. He's not a dual threat. I don't consider him. So I think CJ won't be the second player taken or the first. I definitely see Young going before him, but I will be interested to see where CJ goes. I don't. I would hope and believe that he would go before Will Levis.
I think so, definitely. You can see right now the clock is actually on for the Carolina Panthers right now. You can see up there in the top right corner. The clock is turning down there for like 9 minutes left. Keith was about to come on. He just told me. So we talked about CJ Stroud. Chris Ellis, tell me a little bit more about Bryce Young. You're down and living in the South. You're close to Alabama country.
Unfortunately,
what's so great about Bryce Young down there?
You know, I think Bryce has had to deal with offensive coordinators. That Alabama has changed offensive coordinators so many times that the thing that he's had around him constantly is the head coach. So I think the head coach has made him more of like, hey, you're the leader. When he played that one, there was one atrocious game he played, and I can't remember who it was, but the coach was Saban was like, don't get on him for this. He played his heart out. He did what I asked him to do. Oh, it was against Tennessee, and even though that game was close, Bryce didn't have the great game of their Alabama was like, this is Tennessee. They haven't done anything competitive to anybody in years. And now you have this, I'm going in there and throwing, and then Hooker just had a game out of his mind, which I think Hooker would be the third best quarterback taken if he was healthy. Because if he wouldn't have got hurt, I easily think he would be the third best quarterback. And and I think Bryce, if I was the Carolina or the Texans, do I have the receivers that CJ Stroud needs to throw to, that the level of what he threw at Ohio State? And did Bryce Young throw to the level, who's more mobile right now to run? Because they're going to have to run. He's going to have to run because he doesn't have much weapons behind him or in front of him either. So,
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely going to have, especially when Carolina traded away a lot of players, especially DJ Moore. Big miss out for them losing, trading DJ Moore away. As you can see, the Panthers still have about 6 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock on here. As you guys know, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the NFL draft on the drafts cast, but it'll be a little bit behind the TV show. So we do want to see your comments. So if you are in the chat room or anything, make sure you put some comments, but don't give away any spoilers, folks. All right, because you guys will probably see it on TV before we actually see it here in the screen. And I think my buddy Keith White is finally on. Keith, are you on, sir? Yeah, maybe he's still having a little trouble here. He's still probably trying getting set up. He was playing in a band tonight or something. He had some musical act going on. That's why he's going to help out a little bit and then come back on later. 6 minutes left here on the clock for the Panthers. Whenever Keith's White, he can send me a message, and I will get Keith on to talk about the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers, again, the Bears had this pick. The Bears had the number 1 pick, traded away. Bears moved down to number 9. Bears got multiple draft picks in this trade to move out of 1, and they got DJ Moore, a great definitely the best wide receiver Panthers have on their team. So I thought the Bears did a great job, and the Texans did a horrible job because the Texans won their last game, and that is why the Bears got the first pick, which is now over to Carolina for the Panthers. So as soon as Keith gets ready to go, we will get him on so he can. I think he's about ready here. Let's see here. Keith, are you ready? Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you. We know we'll have your video later on. Carolina Panthers are on the clock. 5 minutes left. What are you looking at? Are you thinking Bryce Young, or are you thinking CJ Stroud, or are you thinking about going somewhere else?
So there has been the talk. We've been talking about it, but there's been the talk of the idea of maybe C.J. Stroud being the pick, but there's also the general consensus about Bryce Young. Now, what gets really tricky and really interesting is I think it all comes down once again to size. I think that the size of Bryce Young is going to be a factor. They say it's not going to be, but let's be honest with ourselves, okay? This isn't college, this is the NFL. And we're watching guys like Kyler Murray have some success, but also sustain a lot of injuries. And we're also watching guys like poor Tua. I can't pronounce Tua's last name.
Nobody can.
But but Tua, Tua really got banged up bad. And he's what you would consider maybe a smaller quarterback as well. So they're really having an issue with guys who are undersized playing that position. And I think what is Bryce Young? 180 pounds, I think, right?
From the site I'm looking at right now, he's 204, 5'10". CJ Stroud is 6'3", 214.
Okay, so CJ Stroud obviously more of a prototypical guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just concerned about durability, and the shame of this is too, in general, is the Carolina Panthers got put in this position, I guess, where the general manager felt like he had to take a big leap. But this quarterback class is not one that I'm totally sold on. So they gave a lot of picks. So they absolutely have to hit a home run. They absolutely have to. They have no choice. They've got to do well with this. So I'll be interested to see what happens in this draft. But I think they're going to go Bryce Young, a proven winner in college. But I do worry about durability issues going down the line.
All right, it looks like the pick is in. We don't know what it is yet. Sometimes, like I had mentioned before, the draft cast is a little bit behind the regular pick, so we'll see what that pick is going to be. So, Keith, I didn't get the chance to introduce you. You're from, of course, TNT Games. You were playing a show tonight, right? A gig.
Live music, yes.
Live music, and I'm guessing it was hardcore rap.
Oh yeah, that's all. That's what the beach towns love, man. They just want hardcore rap.
There you go, sir. Tonight, what are you looking forward to seeing tonight? We talked to our other guests. Is there anything in particular you're really looking forward to tonight to see if something happens?
I would love to see some more trades. It's very interesting to me because, in previous drafts, like I remember, guys like Eric Fisher, an offensive tackle, getting picked with the first pick of the draft, and they announcing it, ahead of time, so everyone knew the first pick weeks going in. They made it clear, and those days are over. And now it's a lot of everyone's lying to everybody else. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of different, I guess like different feints and looks. But nowadays, I think your first 3 picks typically are going to be quarterback. And so I'm wondering what teams are going to be desperate enough to feel like they have to move up. And I'm also looking forward to seeing what the Texans do. Do the Texans take a quarterback early, or do they wait?
And it looks like there is the pick. Bryce Young is the first overall pick from the Carolina Panthers. You were right, Keith. I think that was a pretty easy choice for them. Bryce Young is the first pick for the Carolina Panthers, their new quarterback. He'll probably be starting day one, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. I do believe that's going to happen. I really hope that they have – it's crazy to me to think that if this was happening a year ago, you would say things like, they've got DJ Moore and they've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got some offensive pieces to work around with this guy. But for right now, I'm blanking on what the Carolina Panthers have done to upgrade their offense for any rookie quarterback that they're bringing in. Because DJ Moore is gone, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
He was part of this trade, to the Bears.
Yeah, so he's down with Chicago. Christian McCaffrey's with the 49ers. and and they actually did admirably last year, replacing McCaffrey. But it's interesting that he's going to a team that's not going to have a lot, and
No.
so this kind of reminds me a little bit, and I hope he has a different career. But David Carr coming into the league with a team that just didn't have anything to help him out with, and and very similar also to Sam Darnold. I'm seeing ghosts. I really hope that we don't have this similar situation for Bryce Young. I don't wish failure on anybody, and I certainly don't wish punishment on anybody. But I worry about Bryce Young. They list him at a certain point, but if we're honest, I bet you he's about 180 pounds. I don't see him being as big as they say. Because remember, Deshaun Jackson, they listed him higher than he actually truly was.
Mm-hmm.
I just worry about his durability. He's going to need to hit that weight room. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up his mechanics with his throws, but he's definitely going to need to pack on at least 10 more pounds of muscle to really have a career in this league. I think long term.
Now that's some good analysis there, Keith. All right, Keith, I'm going to let you go here for a second here because it is time for the Houston Texans on the clock tonight. One of 2 first-round picks they have. We're going to bring Card Shark Chris on. He has been following the Texans. What are you looking at here, Card Shark Chris? Are we looking at they're saying here best available is Robinson, best fit is Wilson, or are they going to go quarterback here for number 2?
That is the question. They did sign Devin Singletary in the offseason, who I think is just, he's just shy of being an NFL plus player. Bijan Robinson would be a great hometown fit. However, looking at the depth chart, Davis Mills and Case Keenum for a CJ Stroud or a Will Levis, man, that one's going to be tough. Of course, they could go real early with the defensive end out of Texas Tech. Kid that's 6'7", 271, 6'6", 271, just an imposing presence who can rush the passer and also, hold contain and hold his end of the line. So and there is a small possibility that they could possibly trade down in the draft, but I see this as their chance to get their quarterback. They really definitely need that quarterback. So are we looking at an Anthony Richardson sneaking up in there? I don't know. CJ Stroud, I don't know. So this is really going to be interesting. I think they suspected that Bryce Young was going to go first off the board. So they definitely have some options to go here, especially with that the pick 18th or 12th pick 12th overall that they have as well too. So they have some room to move if they're not really in love, and they can still get their guy at quarterback here.
Right. And the pick is in. We're waiting on the announcement of who the pick is. And I think it depends on how much do they love CJ Stroud. If they don't love CJ Stroud, I can see them go on defense and then getting a quarterback at number 12. Really, they need a quarterback.
They do. Going back to their depth chart as far as wide receivers go, they have Nico Collins, who was out of Michigan, Robert Woods, John Mechie Jr., and then not so great after that. So, and I think Chris Ellis did a great. CJ Stroud needs those receivers to throw to. He's got that cannon. He had great wide receivers at Ohio State. This isn't going to be that situation here in Houston for him.
Well, no matter what quarterback goes to Houston or Carolina, they're not going to have the weapons to throw to. Yeah. I mean, not at all. I mean, actually, you could probably make a case the Texans have a better wide receiver core than the Panthers do right now, because I can't name one wide receiver for the Panthers off the top of my head at all. So without having to look it up. So the pick is in for the Texans. We're waiting on that. And then we're going to come back to the Texans at 12. So it should be very interesting to see. I mean, how bad was it that the Texans lost the number 1 pick? That last week of the season, winning a game, Lovie Smith knew he was going to get fired, went all out, got the victory, and screwed the Texans out of the number 1 pick.
I think that, it is funny, but, Lovie Smith keeps getting jobs, and I think he's a really good players coach, and however that works. And so to me, when they win a game like that and the coaches know he's going, the players are buckling down and playing hard for the coach, to send them off on top. To me, that's probably what that scenario was. and sometimes I'm sure the players who maybe aren't going to be there and they're thinking about screwing it to the coach, they might want to stick it to the franchise a little bit. I don't know, just thinking out loud there a little bit. But it's really unfortunate those have happened. When that's happened, it's happened to my Lions too in the past. Not necessarily with the number one, but with falling or we trade for the LA Rams, they go win a Super Bowl,
and the selection is made. It looks like it is C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. They must have liked him. He is going to be a Houston Texan.
Hard to argue with it. I mean, the kid's 6'3". He's got the ideal size, the ideal arm strength. So we'll have to see. Not a bad pick. The two quarterbacks off the board right away. I think Keith mentioned there'll possibly be 3. So we'll see what happens with this next one.
We will. All right, Card Shark Chris, we'll let you go for a second. We're going to bring on our rookie, Chris Ellis, because he is following the Arizona Cardinals, the boys in the desert. We are at number 3. This is where I don't see quarterback here, but a lot of different options the Texans could go for.
Yeah, I don't see quarterback. I see more like a defensive presence. They need someone on their defensive line. Even cornerback, I would go with. Terry Porter Jr. had a good tryout and everything. Plus, he's got lineage with his dad being a great football player. But it's just going to be. I think Arizona's one of those wild cards where they could actually draft anybody and be happy. They got a good third pick. I mean, they could go edge rusher.
What do you think on the edge? Are you looking? I mean, I don't know if you know the difference, or if you looked at Willie Anderson Jr. from Alabama and Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech. If you had to choose between one of those guys, who would you think would be the better guy?
I like both of them. Honestly, I think both of them are good, but I would go with Tech. I think at 6'7", he's already past most. He's a tall guy, can knock down passes. He's going to be stronger than a lot of the guys that he'll be facing and quicker. He's got good balance and good fights with his hands very well. But you couldn't go wrong with both. But I think Arizona would help themselves with an edge rusher.
Yeah. Definitely, I think, especially you got J.J. Watt retiring too.
Yeah.
So you have some room on that defensive line to bring a young guy on.
I mean, you don't need a quarterback technically because you got Murray. Even though that whole thing. You got a running back. Even though Robinson in Arizona, I don't see him going there though. I mean, I don't see a running back taken in the first 10 or 15 picks anyway. But they got receivers. I mean, not the greatest receivers, but I mean, I don't think there's a receiver that's going to be drafted until maybe past number 10, maybe.
And you have 2 edge rushers, in Anderson and Wilson, who are probably one of the top 2, actually pure athletes and pure best players in this draft. Yeah. Not counting a quarterback. Quarterbacks are always taken higher, even though they might not grade out as higher. But, I mean, they have their choice of defense. You got to think it's got to be one of those edge rushers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you got to improve. I mean, you got to improve the defense. And when J.J. Watt said, hey, I'm retiring, even though he was getting hurt later on in his career, I mean, he's still, when he was on the field, he was a beast. I mean, so – I think Arizona's just looking. I think they're looking on the board who their best overall is, and that's probably who they're going to take. Whoever their top guy is, that's who they're going to take. And I hope it's one of the edge rushers.
Yeah.
Whichever one,
Yeah. They got 3 minutes left on the clock. Do you think there could be a room here for a trade?
Oh yeah.
I mean.
Yeah,
especially if you're a team that needs a quarterback, there's a couple quarterbacks that people are kind of high on. Here you can jump up and get him at number 3.
I think if you're going to go after someone that's already proven that's good, then Levis would be a good one to trade up for. But if you're going to say I'm taking Richardson, then I hope I have a veteran quarterback my first year and let him learn the system, because Richardson's going to be a project.
Mhm.
Hooker
Well, there was some
is the biggest unknown.
There was some mock drafts that actually had Richardson going higher than Stroud. They had Stroud actually dropping. I was reading one here recently, so could be a spot here for a trade. We got 2 minutes left for the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. What will they do? ESPN shows that their top need is defensive end, which right there has got to tell you it should be one of those defensive end guys. Unless they get a really good trade offer, I think they got to take one of the ends and build around those in that defense.
I mean, if they can get some proven defensive players, like veteran, like good players in a trade for that pick, hey, go at it, But,
Yep.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins has already received permission from the Cardinals to seek a trade. So, I mean,
Yeah, that's not good then. 1 minute 28 seconds on the clock for the Arizona Cardinals. 25 Perez in the house. How you doing, sir? He is watching. Of course, everybody's watching the Money in the Huddle show for this first round pick. Hopefully the pick will come in soon. We got 1 minute and 13 seconds left. You're a big card collector guy, Chris. Did you see a trade?
Trade just happened.
Okay, we have a trade.
Traded their pay. It's on. I'm watching the draft from on NFL Network. So
is Houston on the clock now?
Houston's on the clock.
All right, let's go. Let's go over then to Card Shark Chris. Card Shark Chris, I was not expecting to talk to you this soon.
I know. What's up? You know what? I think they're going to go defensive end here. I think they're going to go get the gentleman, Tyree Wilson. They need, again, what I want to say it again. What Tyree Wilson's going to bring is he's got a huge frame. He can rush the passer, but he can also play the run. There aren't a ton of guys in the NFL that can be a 3-down defensive end. And that's what that team needs. So you get your franchise cornerstone quarterback, hopefully, and CJ Stroud. And then if you add in, which I think they will do, Tyree Wilson, you have got a solid defensive end for the next 4 years who has the prototypical frame.
Well, the pick is in. We're waiting on the pick for that. And what a shock I would assume they probably would have traded off their 12th pick, probably back to the Cardinals, I would assume, to get this pick. But the pick is in. We'll see what happens. Have you ever seen before where somebody had the 2 and the 3 pick before in the NFL draft? That is just remarkable, having 2 top 5 picks, basically. Well, 2 of the top 3.
Absolutely. And depending on how they leverage this, to move to 2 and 3 and getting 2 players like that, and hopefully they didn't give up too much on the back end or in the future. But that's an aggressive move. I will say that by the the Houston Texans. Yeah. Definitely an aggressive move.
And it's going to be an expensive move too. I mean, here you're talking millions of dollars if you would have took somebody at 12 compared to taking somebody at 3. So they're willing to spend some money with 2 top 3 picks.
Yeah, and that tells me, that they're not going to be going super, super tough in free agency because they're going to have some money locked up.
Will Anderson, sorry to interrupt you, Will Anderson Jr. is the pick, not the guy you expected.
No, I was honestly loving him to the Lions. If Will Anderson would have fell into the Lions' lap, I would have been so happy. But to be honest with you, it's kind of the same thing, that outside linebacker position. Will Anderson, to me, is just like he could be an NFL All-Pro at some point in the near future, coming from the system that he's played at, playing against the talent that he plays at, even in practice, going against high-level competition. So that is a tremendous move, very aggressive. Tremendous move by the Houston Texans organization.
Definitely. All right, Card Shark Chris, I'll let you go for a second. Let's bring on our buddy Keith White because it is time for the Indianapolis Colts at number 4. Another spot for a quarterback here, Keith. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's actually a number 4. It's definitely time for a quarterback or some kind of crazy move because Jim Irsay is insane. He is absolutely insane. He gets rid of his coach Frank Reich, who's a good coach, and in the middle of the season, and grabs Jeff Saturday off the streets
Mhm.
and tells us it's this thing where he wants to win and he wants to, to have a winning culture in the building. And Jeff Saturday eventually has shown the door as well. I don't believe that the GM of Indianapolis really has too much of a say. I think Irsay has a lot of say. So we're going to see what happens here. The shame of this is I believe that both Levis and Richardson, I believe that they're projects. I think that Will Levis, I think he just makes too many mistakes. And if you make those mistakes in college, they're really going to show in the NFL. And so, yes, he can develop and mature and blossom into a good pro. He's got those Josh Allen tools, but I just worry about the mistakes that he's made and where they're going to translate to the next level. I really want to talk real quick. Fantastic move with the Houston Texans. I was not predicting it. I was not expecting it. But another point that you made, Matt, with the paying a guy who's the 12th pick of the draft, they're going to struggle in 5 years to pay the number 2 pick and the number 3 pick with extensions. Like that second big time contract. That's going to be very interesting to see down the line for them making this move. But they're making impact plays right now for sure. But back to the Colts, I got to say, it's them. I think it's almost got to be a quarterback, or they're going to trade.
Okay, could be too. I wanted to show the clip. I didn't have time today, but I wanted to do the clip of your Super Bowl prediction because the Indianapolis Colts was one of your picks for the Super Bowl, and now they're drafting 4th in the NFL draft.
Yes, not my best moment in life. I did have the Eagles correct.
You did.
But I whiffed big time on the Colts. I don't think any of us could have predicted how bad they were going to be because they look like a team on the rise. And then things just happened and they went completely off the rails. So, we are now at a point where they're in rebuild mode again. If it falls to a quarterback, you got to think they've got Michael Pittman Jr. As a wideout. They've got Jonathan Taylor, if he's healthy again, as a stud running back. If the offensive line can stay healthy, it was one of the best in the league, which is one of the reasons I made the pick as a Super Bowl favorite. So I think that if they do pick quarterback, it's going to be a favorable place for them, for Indianapolis. But I wish Indianapolis had grabbed a veteran or made a trade for like a guy like Trey Lance, one of these guys who still might be a stud, but had things happen, that they haven't actually made the leap yet.
Yeah, definitely. The pick is in for the Colts. We're just waiting for it to get announced, see who this player is. I think it's got to be a quarterback too. I actually think this might be a spot for Anthony Richardson from Florida. I could see him going here. I'm not that big on Levis for Kentucky, but I think Anthony Richardson from Florida, 6'4", 244-pound quarterback from Florida, might be the pick here. But you never know what they're going to do, folks. But they have had so much trouble with quarterback lately. They've been trying to get veteran after veteran, but it is not working. They need a young guy to come in there and, hand the future over to him.
Yeah, I agree. Because now what veteran could they get anymore? The Band-Aids were these guys like Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers who, he didn't have it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
So what veteran are you going to get that's going to be a solid player for you? There was so much talk until today that the Colts might have been a trade partner for Lamar Jackson, but now Lamar Jackson back with the Baltimore Ravens on an extension. So, the only thing that they could do, with this pick where they were was to try and swindle a team. I'm gonna make a joke here. Don't take me seriously, but trade for Justin Herbert from the Chargers with
Here, sorry to interrupt you, but the pick is Anthony Richardson from Florida, the quarterback from Florida. Anthony Richardson is the pick. What are your thoughts about Anthony Richardson coming on board?
He is a major project, but he's also the kind of guy that I feel like Irsay looks at and salivates over because the tools, like the physical traits, you can't teach what he has with the physical traits. If he develops into an NFL quarterback, he has the potential to be an absolute monster. And a lot of Cam Newton comparisons. The scary thing about that is Cam Newton, if you think about the true shelf life that Cam Newton had as a quarterback, it's a short one because of the physicality of his style of play. So, Frank Reich is no longer there to be a quarterback guru, but Shane, help me out with the pronunciation. Steichen, whatever that guy's name is, he made Jalen Hurts look like a superstar, and this guy has similar build. So we'll see what happens.
And they do have a quarterback that can basically teach him. His name is Nick Foles. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, I'm thinking of I'm thinking of his nickname, his not suitable for the air nickname.
Yes. So. All right, Keith, we'll talk to you here in a little bit because we're going to move back over to Chris Ellis. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Chris, you're jinx, man. Your team traded you. We haven't got to talk to you much at all yet, but it is time for the Seahawks on the board. ESPN is showing that the Seahawks' top needs are defensive end, wide receiver. I would gotta think this is the place where Tyree Wilson goes.
Yeah, I mean it's just too easy unless they go for Will, since they have Geno signed for what, 2 years? And that would
not sure.
I mean, because they already got a running back, they already got receivers. I mean, yeah, defense would probably be. I mean, the defensive end is probably the number one goal, but yeah.
Yeah, I would think so too with 5 minutes left. Do you see any other quarterbacks making the first round? Like I would think Will Levis would probably be the next quarterback taken.
Yeah, I think Levis will be taken, but I don't know. I don't think he'll be taken by Detroit. I don't think Vegas will take him. Atlanta has Ritter. I mean, Philly has,
Yeah, Philly's not going to take him.
Tennessee.
They used a second round pick on what's his name from last year, Malik, whatever his name is, but
Willis, yeah,
pretty too good.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah. I mean, he's still got. I mean, Arizona's already got a quarterback. I mean,
well, what do you think? I mean, what about the resurgence of Geno Smith in Seattle? Talk about a comeback story. Nobody predicted this.
Well,
and now we're talking Seattle not taking a quarterback, but taking another position because Geno did so well.
I mean, I'm glad he got a chance outside of the Jets. I mean, it's a lot of these quarterbacks. I don't think it's necessarily because of them. I think a lot of these quarterbacks are quarterbacks in the past, other than Troy Aikman. I mean, look at Steve Young, had a Hall of Fame career with a backup quarterback. Jim McMahon was later a backup quarterback that came in and had one of the highest winning percentages of all quarterbacks at one time. Some of these guys need to sit behind a veteran and learn how to be an NFL quarterback. And that's why you get the same teams every 5 years drafting a quarterback, because they don't know how to mentor. They don't know how to go. The Indianapolis Colts problem, they had Andrew Luck, and he decided to retire early. Then they go, well, we'll have these 1 year starters: Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers. What did I get you? You didn't do nothing. You didn't get nothing for a quarterback. You didn't draft no quarterback to come in there, and you're one of these old veteran guys. Why not go out and get Joe Flacco then? I mean, you got to learn how to mentor and develop. And I don't think these coaches can, I don't think these coaches know how to develop. I really don't. I think they're and these will be the same teams in the next couple of years. I'll be drafting quarterbacks again. And it's going to be sad.
The Texans are there quite a bit drafting quarterbacks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Richardson does not need to start this year.
Yeah.
I'm saying right now, do not start him this year.
Well, I mean, they could start Nick Foles.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let Foles ride out the year, and let Richardson sit and watch because they're gonna have to change the system around him too. Because Richardson likes to run. Carson Wentz is not a runner.
No, it was not.
He also doesn't have he also has a running back he can give the ball to. And he's got a
very good running back.
And he's got a receiving core that should be good.
Right.
Yeah.
So Seattle's still on the clock at 139, 138 left. Maybe if they're going down the wire, maybe they're actually, I would think this would have been an easy choice, but maybe it's not such an easy choice, or maybe they're getting some trade offers for that pick as well.
I'm thinking if a team needs a quarterback, they're trying to get whoever.
Will Levis probably from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because last year I think we had one quarterback taken in the first round, and that was like toward the end of the first round.
Yeah.
This year we've had 3 quarterbacks out of the top, top 4 picks. So 3 of them have been quarterbacks.
So we either think these 2 quarterbacks are going to be Drew Bledsoe or Rick Meyer, or Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So
hopefully not Ryan Leaf.
Which one's going to be the Ryan Leaf and the Rick Meyer? And which one's going to be the Peyton Manning and the Drew Bledsoe?
Right.
We'll
have to take a look. The pick is in for Seattle. We're waiting on Seattle's pick. I think this has got to be Tyrese Wilson. Is that your pick, Chris? You think it's definitely got to be Tyrese?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Or Tyree, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Wilson.
He'll be making millions of dollars soon. He'll be like, as long as you got the name right on the check, you're good.
Yes. And that Legion of Boom used to be an awesome defense in Seattle. You got to start rebuilding that with some younger guys, and this would be a perfect guy to come in and start with that second wave of the Legion of Boom, kind of.
Yeah, if they could get some strong people, I think Bobby Wagner was a real big loss for them. I don't think they should have got rid of him per se. But there's always a chance for more. So,
yep, definitely. We're waiting on the pick for Seattle. Pete Carroll, I think, still coaching the team, right?
Yeah, Pete's still there. I'm not the biggest Pete Carroll fan. I lived in Washington for 5 years, and Seattle was one of those. Kitna was the quarterback, and the fans loved Kitna. So if the fans loved Kitna, I'm sure they were loving Geno as much because they like that.
Geno mania, we'll have to call it.
Yeah, they love their underdog quarterbacks.
They do.
Yeah,
even Russell Wilson was an underdog quarterback. Russell Wilson was taken, later in the draft, wasn't like a top pick or anything, and he, did pretty well when he was with Seattle.
Yeah,
so we're still waiting on the Seattle pick tonight, guys. Again, we are at pick number 5. It's going pretty good here. We're almost up to 840. It's 848 right now.
This is the longest walk
tonight.
This is the longest walk.
Well, yeah, sometimes the draft cast gets a little bit behind, so sometimes. Maybe they don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. I don't know.
It's a guy from Kenya.
Christian. It's a guy from Kenya. Yes. Maybe the guy from Kenya.
Some guy that never played college. Simeon Rice.
True. Could be that. Could be that as well. Should be interesting. Should be interesting to see where Robinson, the running back, goes, because we haven't had a running back taken in the top 5 since probably Saquon, I think, who was taken at 3 by my Giants.
Yeah, you got Saquon and Reggie Bush.
We'll see how far it takes for somebody to take a running back in that first round.
He's the projected 3rd best player on the draft board.
There is the pick. It is Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon, the corner from Illinois, 6 foot, 181 pounds.
My son likes that guy. My son is absolutely in love with that cornerback.
Well, if you remember, the Legion of Boom started out kind of with Richard Sherman. We know we had that great defensive back on there. Right. So now they are adding on to him.
That's my son's like, that's the guy I'm collecting rookie-wise. There's some other ones he'll be collecting, but that was the first one. He's like, Dad, any Witherspoon cards?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm wanting him. And it's like, he's high on this guy. He's
good.
Hey, if the only other position I could have said was probably cornerback, but I think Porter Jr. will be taken somewhere in the draft today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know by who, but hey, we got our first corner off the board.
So. We do. All right, Chris Ellis will be back here in a little bit with you. It is time for that part of the draft where the Detroit Lions select a football player in the top 10. And of course, we're talking about the Lions, we have to talk about one of the biggest Lions fans, Card Shark Chris. It is your time for the draft, Card Shark Chris. What will the Lions do?
They are going to pick a wide receiver. Arizona State, that's going to be terrible. I don't know. It's interesting. I could see the Tyree Wilson pick here. They do need help on the defense primarily. I don't see them handing Goff any money on an extension. But I also expect to see Goff's best play coming up this year because he's going to be playing for a contract with somebody. So I definitely defense. Now you have to look to see. I'm thinking they might possibly move back just a little bit because there are still some guys on the board that they can get and maybe get something here too. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a Tyree Wilson come off the board at this point for them. Or I see them possibly moving back a little bit. So this is going to be interesting. I was really hoping for Will Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've heard, Detroit is not super huge on Jalen Carter. I don't think I think he'd be a fit, but I don't have to pay the guy either.
That's true. Or do they go corner here? You got Christian Gonzalez from Oregon. Witherspoon got picked already. Joey Porter Jr., of course. I think Joey Porter will be a little bit later. And actually, the thing I'm looking at has Christian Gonzalez actually rated a little bit higher as a corner than Mr. Witherspoon.
Wow. There's so many ways that they can go. That's just really the crazy part. They have the 2 picks.
Which means they're going to select a tight end, right?
Yeah, we're looking at the roster. There's literally, they got Johnny Goombats, Billy Malute, Billy Smith. Seriously, what they have is Derek Deese Jr., James Mitchell, Brock Wright, and Shane Zylstra.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Why did they trade Hawkinson during the season?
I don't think Hawkinson had a really good first year, and then he really fell off. So I wonder how he fit in with their system and what they want to do. I don't think Hawkinson blocks particularly well to run the football. And I think what Brad Holmes and MCDC want is they want tight ends that they can put in there that can hold the line, release, and catch the ball. They want someone who's versatile, not just one or the other, because you tip your hat to the defense so easily doing that.
And you could tell they weren't. How bad does he have to be to trade him to an in-division rival, the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah.
You got to have you don't care. You're going to play him twice a year.
Yep, and I think honestly that was probably the best offer that they could get for him, and that's why he went there. So maybe there's
it looks like we have a trade. The Lions have traded to the Cardinals, so we're going to go back over to Chris Ellis because he lost the Cardinals. Now he's back with the Cardinals. It is time. So the Cardinals selected third. Or no, did they trade third? They traded the third pick, right?
Yep.
Okay, now they're trading back up to get the Lions' 6th pick. So I'm guessing that 12th. I don't know where that 12th pick went. I'm guessing it went to the Lions.
I'm thinking it did too.
And so who are you looking here? Are you looking now for Wilson?
Yeah,
we talked about this for quite a while.
He's there. Why not? I just don't see anybody. I wonder if Hopkins was a part of that trade then.
I don't know if that would be. Do you think Cleveland? Do you think Kevin Costner is running the Arizona Cardinals war room right now? I don't know if you ever seen Draft Draft movie with Kevin Costner. Yeah. This looks like a Kevin Costner move. Trading back up, getting the guys they want to get in this.
It looks
draft.
like me on Madden. 1 year I had 4 first-round draft picks because my top players didn't want to play for me anymore, and I'm like, okay, I'm winning Super Bowls. You don't want to play for me? I'll trade you. It's like. I can't see Arizona not getting the defensive end here.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
Wilson, is there another defense end? What about Van Ness from Iowa? There's another kid
yeah,
that's one of the top picks too. But I would think it's gotta be Wilson. But we said
yeah.
that before and it wasn't him. So
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, Houston has. We got to remember, Houston's head coach now is the former defensive coordinator of the 49ers.
mhm.
So he's looking at the quarterback and looking at his new defensive end. He's like, I can groom both these guys how I want to groom them into what I think my team should look like. And plus, he's got the quarterback coach from San Francisco to help them. So I'm
But
thinking,
we're talking about the Cardinals though.
I know, but I'm saying
Okay.
that pick was perfect
Okay. The
for
Texans
them to
pick.
take. Yeah. So in this pick, it's almost like, okay, we knew who other people were picking somehow, quote unquote, and voila. Because the biggest shock of the first four picks, I think, was Richardson at 4.
Mhm.
So they were thinking, oh, defensive end won't be there. So we'll just get who the best player is when we get, and they traded back. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll see. We'll see what this pick is. I think it's got to be hopefully Wilson. I don't know.
I hope so
I wonder
too.
why Wilson is dropping in some of these things, or is it more that Wilson's not dropping, but more teams are trying to get a quarterback, and that's why Wilson's not going right away.
I don't know if I'm taking in the first 12 picks of the draft, I don't feel like I dropped, unless I was promised the first pick, hey, we're taking you number 1. Okay. That's a lot of money then. That's loss of money. If I'm not being told where I'm going, hey, there's a check, I'm like, and I hope it is. Well, if not, it's going to be a shock who it is.
It is not. It is Paris Johnson Jr., a
Tackle.
Ohio State, offensive tackle, Ohio State, 313 pounds, 6'6". You need somebody to block for Murray. I guess this guy is as big as Paris, it looks like.
He's 6'5", 3.5". So yeah. I mean, he's a big guy, but I mean,
it's definitely a big guy, but Wilson falls a little bit even farther.
I mean, is this going to be an Aaron Rodgers situation with the guy?
I hope he's not in the green room. That's all I gotta say.
I'd be mad.
Is.
I'd be like, oh, this. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad pick, but I'm not going to say that it's. I don't think it's defensive changing.
No, but he's probably one of the top offensive linemen in the draft. So
I mean, he has to be. Well, Tony Mandarich was too at one point, but we won't.
So. All right, Chris Ellis, we'll wait till we get back to one of your teams. Let's bring on our boy Keith White, because it is time for the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. What a wild first round we've had so far, Keith. What are you looking for the Raiders? I could say Tyree Wilson again, but who knows if anybody's going to take this kid.
Well, and it's funny because Josh McDaniels has proven time and time again that he doesn't know what he's doing as a head coach. So who knows who's going to get picked here? It does make sense at this point. Excuse me. I feel like you do need to go Wilson. There's no reason. I don't know the needs maybe for the Raiders. The Raiders have a lot of issues. They have a lot of needs because Josh McDaniels took a playoff team. That he inherited a playoff team and made them look awful. And he got rid of his quarterback. He made it what they say was a lateral move, but I feel like it's a downgrade with Jimmy Garoppolo. But I feel like they have to go defense. So if I'm them, I'm definitely going Wilson.
Well, according to ESPN, their needs are cornerback, defensive tackle, offensive guard, defensive end, and tight end. So it could be another place for a corner. I mean, the Raiders have drafted a lot of corners in the first round over the years, though.
If that's the case, I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez here.
Christian Gonzalez, the 6'1" cornerback out of Oregon, 197 pounds. I'm glad I got 2 laptops going, so I'll be able to look at the other guys and give you those stats. But 5 minutes and 29 seconds left. Crazy, a lot of trades so far here in this top 10 picks. Could be another chance. Maybe the Raiders decide to trade back a little bit, especially if somebody's looking for that Will Levis quarterback. out there. I don't know who else would be looking for a QB, but there might be somebody.
If I was the Raiders and somebody came to me with a decent offer, I would take it because they have a lot of needs, in my opinion, and I think that this draft allows them to address a lot of that. I love the trade so far. I love what we're seeing. I love the craziness. You're right. It's like draft day. Kevin Costner's in somebody's war room because they're going absolutely crazy. The draft. I love the draft for the trades. Every year there's something that happens. I remember losing my mind with that Mitch Trubisky year, which set Chicago back quite a while. And you have to remember too, like when they do these trades, other teams benefit as well. So we're going to see what happens. Are the Raiders going to actually be the beneficiary of all these different moves that have happened up until now?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, Wilson drop down, that they might be very much interested. Plus, you also got to think it's not just these first-round picks are getting traded back and forth. There are second, third, fourth, rounds that are added onto these trades to make the teams worthwhile. And sometimes those picks are the best picks out there compared to first-round picks.
You got depth and guys who just, for whatever reason, didn't grade out. And obviously, we know based on the draft history that the scouts aren't always correct, and Tom Brady obviously is the be all end all of hey, guys can get it wrong sometimes, but you're right. These middle round picks that some of these teams are going to get are eventually going to transform their team with guys who can really be long term contributors. So time will tell, but I've always enjoyed how this works, but I worry about the Raiders overall, and the reason is Josh McDaniels. But we'll see which way they go. I think they have to make sure, especially in their division, you've got to be able to at least contain Mahomes, and so you better make sure that your defensive backs are top notch.
Right, or you got to put pressure on them. That's another way to get with Mahomes, and that way Wilson could be a good pick for that as well. Plus, Wilson played at Texas Tech, and that's where Patrick Mahomes played.
Yep.
Look at that. I'm telling you what, you mentioned earlier, sometimes the NFL analysts are a little bit off on their predictions, but not here at the Monday Night Huddle, because you guys are spot on with all of your analysis. Thank you guys for being on. But it is 9:03 right now. The pick is in by the Raiders. Who are the Raiders going to pick? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. But we'll find out here pretty shortly, I think.
I'm going to make my final guess, and that's going to be Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez. I'm going to go with Wilson. I think Wilson's the pick here. I think you got to put pressure on these quarterbacks, and I think Wilson would be a good pick for that. But you never know. The Raiders love their corners drafted in the first round. So you never know. I can name quite a few that were drafted probably. So. All right, we're waiting on the Raiders pick here. After the Raiders, we will be going to the Falcons, I think, and that'll be Card Chart Chris. But first, we are waiting on this Raiders pick. Hopefully, definitely not a trade. Usually they mentioned a trade earlier, so I think it's definitely a pick here on what the Raiders will do.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense for Wilson. Like, he's the favorite. I think he becomes the favorite for any team because pass rushers, you can never have enough of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you can put pressure on the ball, you can have a bad secondary if you can get a lot of pressure on the ball, especially with your front four. If you can get just four guys who can rush the passer and get pressure on the quarterback, and the rest of your guys go back, you have a pretty good defense there.
I agree with that, and it does help you with any deficiencies you might have in your secondary.
That is true. All right, we're waiting on the Raiders pick here. I guess they're slowly walking the pick up. You never know how long this is going to take, but hopefully we will have this pick very shortly and continue on in our NFL draft. And hopefully Keith can show some video eventually. Hopefully he can get home safely.
Well, I'm circling around the neighborhood at this point because it came back to the Raiders pick. The minute the Raiders are done, I'm in that house.
Okay. Well, if you want to get going, we can finish up the Raiders for you, or you can wait around to see who the Raiders pick. It's completely up to you.
I'll have you finish up so I can get in the house.
All right, no problem, Keith. All right, we're waiting on the Raiders pick. Let's bring in Card Shark Chris. I know you're not up with the Raiders right now, but you'll be up pretty soon with the Falcons. So I'll give you a little chance ahead of time. about the Falcons. You're down in the Atlanta area, aren't you? Kind of close.
Yeah. Yep. I live in the metro, at the Atlanta
Oh, okay.
metro.
And wait, here the pick is in. Tyree Wilson, the defensive end from Texas Tech, finally off the board. Man, I'm doing really good with predictions tonight. I picked Richardson and now Wilson. How do you think Wilson's going to fit in with the Raiders?
Probably pretty well because they picked him. I don't really know anything really about the Raiders.
That
To be
is
honest
fine.
with you, I wish I could provide some sweet insight, but I know nothing.
That's okay. At least you're honest, sir. At least you're honest, man. All right, let's go to a team you know all about, the Atlanta Falcons. Man, they have a lot of holes, don't they?
To say the least. They have literally no one that can cover a wide receiver or a tight end
Or catch the ball, or
catch. Yeah, that's the thing. I think Drake London. I don't know. That's maybe he's a little bit of a project still, but outside of Drake London, there is literally nobody on that roster.
Could this be a spot where we see the first wide receiver off the board, the Ohio State kid, Jackson Smith, however you say his last name?
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. Coming from a fan base of the Detroit Lions who took wide receivers in the first round 3 straight years, and only one of them had any type of real NFL career, it's hard to pick a wide receiver in the first round twice in a row.
Mm.
So it's possible. I think Wilson leaving the last pick, the defensive end coming off the board, I think that was probably a little bit of a target for them. Cornerback could be out there, although looking at the best available players, they have a Gonzalez. I would bet that they'll probably take Christian Gonzalez right now. I don't see him making any big splash picking a quarterback because they do have Desmond Ritter. They got rid of Mariota, so I think they signed Taylor Henschke or whatever his name is, Hinchcliffe, whatever. I don't know.
From the Commanders.
Yeah, and he's a decent backup. That's a solid move. So hearing the talk around here, they definitely want an offensive lineman. I don't see that happening here in the first round, but they want some big boys, and they definitely need some big boys. But I'm willing to guess it's going to be Christian Gonzalez. I don't see them going with Jalen Carter, although it's possible. Keep the kid in state, sell a lot of jerseys.
Yeah.
But I think Christian Gonzalez for what they need right now, because there's literally looking at their depth chart as far as defensive backs goes, AJ Tyrell and Mike Hughes, Jeff Okuda. The Lions got rid of him. If the Lions don't want you, you're bad.
Yeah.
You're bad. So, literally, they could pick anybody right here, and it would be pretty decent. They do have some good players, Brady Jarrett and Calais Campbell.
Well, the pick is in for the Falcons. We're waiting on to see who that pick is. I don't know if I would – I don't know what the Falcons – I don't know really what the Falcons are really looking for. They have so much needs. I don't even know if I'm even sold on Ritter, really as their quarterback. So it's kind of surprising. Probably the best quarterback taken in last year's draft was taken in the 7th round in Brock Purdy. How crazy is that? Probably the best quarterback taken was in the 7th round. So
and the Brock Purdy offense was never pretty at Iowa State. They just grinded you out, play action pass, run the football, and Matt Campbell, the dude that coaches there, he's a heck of a coach. Yeah. So he came in and he went to a great situation too for him. With Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco.
I think that's what happens with a lot of quarterbacks. I think that most quarterbacks are usually all about the same, but it's who goes into that good situation with that good coach, becomes great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we're waiting on the Atlanta Falcons pick here. Oh, by the way, we didn't get to talk. What did you think about your Lions trading back? Were you happy about that?
Yeah. See, after decades of misery, it is so refreshing. I talk with other Lions friends that we seem to have an organization who everybody is on the same page and going in the same direction. all at one time, and it's almost scary, really, to think about that. They've made smart moves. They've made great signings this offseason to fill their needs, and they didn't break the bank for it.
Mhm.
Because I think the word is out that the culture in Detroit right now, winning, what was it, 7 of the last 8, 8 of the last 9, whatever it was, like that's, they've got some momentum going.
Mhm.
And, there's a plan, and I think the players see that. And, there's going to be big things coming in Detroit. I really hope. And hopefully it'll start off with the 2 picks that they have in the teens here. But we'll have to see what.
Plus, it does save them a little money too, going from 6 to 12. That will save them a little moolah.
Mm-hmm. And Detroit is in a really great spot cap wise too right now. So that's a good point for them as well.
Yeah. All right, we're waiting on the Atlanta Falcons pick here tonight. It is 9:11 right now. We're going to go till 10 o'clock tonight. We'll see how many picks we get through because we're all kind of old and need our beauty sleep. So I forget how many picks. We got through quite a few picks last year. So I think we'll get through quite a few pretty soon. But we're still waiting on the Atlanta Falcons pick here. Best fit for ESPN, they're saying Jalen Carter. And Robinson's been up there as best available. They must have, Mel Kiper must have Robinson as like the top player in the whole draft, it looks like.
Right. But in these evaluators, they put a lot of the stock just in their combine performances.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're never going to see a running back because the shelf life is like literally 3.5 years. You're never going to see one unless they're, unbelievable. And I don't think Bijan Robinson's a great back, and I think he can be a quality plus player in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But no one's going to, pay him that kind of money right up front.
No, definitely.
He's not a Heisman winner, I'll tell you that much. I mean, maybe a Heisman winner, I don't know, but not Bijan Robinson. No offense to him.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I don't see him as even a Saquon Barkley, when Saquon was coming out of college.
Right. Yeah, and Saquon, generational talent.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, yes.
Right.
All right, we're waiting on the Falcons pick. They must have tripped or something or dropped the card. I don't know what they did. They must have did something, but hopefully we can get this pick in. You were going Gonzalez. Is that your prediction?
Yeah, I'm predicting Gonzalez.
Okay. I think that'd be good. I'm going to go offensive lineman. I'm going to say it's going to be the kid from Northwestern, Peter Skoronski. I'm just picking. 6'4", 313 pounds. Do you know anything about him from Northwestern as a Big Ten guy?
I don't. But anybody who plays on the offensive or defensive line in Pat Fitzgerald's system, they're going to be a dog. Yeah. And they might not win all the games, but like Pat Fitzgerald's a tough SOB, and his teams play that way. And so if he's up there rated that way, he's probably pretty decent.
Right. All right, we're still waiting on the Falcons pick. And after the Falcons, we'll be going back over to Chris Ellis to talk about the Bear. Oh, the pick is in. Oh, it is Robinson. It is Robin. Are you shocked as much as I am?
Whew.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Oh.
What did Mel Kiper say about the team? Like, they just don't understand how the NFL draft works.
Yeah. They're trying to be the new Detroit Lions and really just find ways to screw this up because, granted they have Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson, and Cordell Patterson's kind of a scat tweener kind of running back, wide receiver, utility guy. But wow, this early. Ooh.
Especially if you have so much other needs,
Yep. And to me, we got to put the emphasis on getting those big boys. Get the beef, if you got a chance to get a lockdown corner or someone who can serve it. Yeah. But we'll see what happens with this. Good luck. Good luck.
That's all we can say, man. All right. It looks like, actually, I thought the Bears were up next, but it looks like the Eagles were on the clock. And I was going to give that, Keith White was going to talk about them, but he is rushing into the house. So hopefully he'll be on in a second. Chris Ellis, what do you know about the Eagles? Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's all right.
But talk about a team in the Super Bowl and now having a top 10 pick. You don't see that happen very often.
I'm going to thank the Atlanta Falcons for taking the running back from Texas. They can play all 3 downs and can play wide receiver if need be for a team that can't catch the ball.
That's
So,
true.
so, um, so on that note, go Horns. The Eagles. I mean, they got. I don't know what they really need right now. I mean, they got a quarterback. They got a wide receiver.
Well, they got wide receivers, AJ Brown and Smith. I mean, that's two
I
really
mean,
good wide receivers.
I mean, I think they could technically go with maybe you can't go with a running back.
No.
You got one taken. I mean, I guess they could shore up their corners.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely with Gonzalez, maybe.
yeah. I mean, the cornerback situation is
Right.
one of
ESPN is saying that their top needs are defensive tackle, safety, defensive end, inside linebacker, and offensive guard. Maybe an offensive lineman, You can never have too many offensive linemen.
no. Then if that's the case,
the pick is in for the Eagles. We're waiting on the Eagles pick here.
Hey, we'll see who it is.
Yeah, they're very quick, I guess. They're not taking any time. They know exactly who they want. I'm guessing somebody felt to them that they were not expecting.
Well,
But what a luxury it is. I mean, this is part of, I don't remember if anybody remembers what trade this was part of that they got this pick, but this is a very good pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was part of the last year's Tennessee pick, wasn't it? When they traded for
Could be. Though I think Tennessee has a pick at 11, I have, so might not. I don't know if it's Tennessee's or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Picks are going left and right around here.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Oh, okay. I see it now. I see who they took.
Oh, well, I haven't yet because the draft tracker hasn't shown me yet. So
yeah, it's funny. The Fubo Sports Live has it before you have it this time, and
yes.
you've had it way before everybody else.
Really? We've been breaking news here at the Monday Night Huddle show.
Yeah, because I Roger Goodell's coming out, and you already got the pick said.
Wow.
I'm like,
all right. Well, Chris Ellis, who is this Eagles pick? Tell us who it is.
They selected Jalen Carter from Georgia.
Jalen Carter from Georgia. I mean, the Eagles love defensive guys. I mean,
yeah,
especially defensive ends and stuff. A tackle, put him in there. They're gonna love him in Philadelphia.
The only thing about him is, of course, the stuff that happened off the field, and I think this is why he dropped, because he would have been a top 10, I think, originally, if the trouble wouldn't have happened. But he ranks high in everything. I mean,
yep.
His grade is 3rd. His pass rushing grade was 8th. Rushing defense grade 5th. Quarterback hurries, he was 14th. And he batted 3 passes last year, which is pretty good for a defensive tackle.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 314 pounds, out of Georgia, junior.
Yeah.
He'll fit right in. I mean, because what the Eagles do is they rotate their defensive line quite a bit. I mean, as a Giants fan, I see them twice a year. They like to rotate all their defensive line and keep them fresh. That's just another bullet in the chamber right there.
I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I mean, it's
you know how it is. They just rotate in a beast after a beast.
Yeah, it's almost like the '90s Eagles defenses with Jerome Brown, Reggie White,
Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner, all those guys. Yeah,
yeah, it's like Eric Allen coming off the blitz corner. So
right.
I mean, they're comparing him to Kawan Short, so he's. But I mean, his pros are pretty good. I mean, for the defensive tackle. So I mean, his cons aren't anything that I thought. I mean, they say his frame's thinner, but I think he's just more athletic because of his frame. I mean, yeah,
definitely. Well, ESPN draft tracker is being really slow because it still just says the pick is in. I don't know who the pick is. ESPN doesn't, but we're finding out it is Jalen Carter from the University of Georgia.
Yahoo hasn't even updated that the Philadelphia got the pick from Chicago. So
so there was an actual trade on this because I didn't have this originally.
Because Chicago was supposed to have
Chicago was supposed to have 9 is what I had listed.
Right.
The Eagles were supposed to be 10. So the Eagles moved up 1 spot, I guess.
Yeah, they get their guy.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, you have the Bears coming up next. What are you looking at? Chicago. I mean, Chicago's been wheeling and dealing here.
I mean,
they had the number 1 pick, traded down to Carolina, now traded down again with Philadelphia.
I mean, they got the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
they got their wide receiver that they wanted. I guess this is one of those. If you want, I mean, obviously, they don't need a quarterback, so Levis is out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Go with a corner and say, hey, we'll shore up the defensive backs. You know, I mean, because I can't see them saying too much on how they're gonna do that. Because corner would be the. The corner class is good. I don't know who their tight end is. So if they want a good tight end,
I think it's that Cole Kmet, isn't it?
Yeah, Cole Kmet. Okay, yeah. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not tight end at all. The wide could go wide.
Yeah, ESPN is showing offensive tackle as one of their top needs, and you can see a picture of Peter Sobrowski or whatever his name is from Northwestern. That guy just looks like a Chicago Bear.
Well, he's from Northwestern. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's go with it. Yeah, it was just weird to see. Hold it. They don't just got they just didn't get just the 9th. They got the 10th pick from the Saints just now.
Oh.
And Chicago has moved down.
More breaking news, I guess, here. They moved down again. It says the pick is in, though, for Chicago.
Okay.
All right, we'll see what happens here with the Chicago pick, if it's going to be a trade, another trade down, or if it's going to be
they selected offensive tackle.
The Peter guy from Northwestern?
Nope, they selected the guy from Tennessee, Darrell Wright.
Darrell Wright. Let me find Darrell Wright here. Darrell Wright.
I think
there he is. Offensive tackle, 6'5", 333 pounds from the University of Tennessee. Darnell Wright looks like it's going to be the pick. Yeah. Tell you what, we are breaking news here on the Monday Night Huddle show. Before even ESPN Draft Tracker shows us, we're breaking those picks down for you guys. What do you think about this pick? Offense, it seems like they needed an offensive tackle. You got to protect Justin Fields.
Yeah.
What do you think about this guy coming in and protecting him?
Oh, this guy looks good. But they're showing film footage of him now. His feet move real well with his hands, so he's not like doing this shaking, fake blocking technique. He's like, the guy is coming and he's already engaged. So, I obviously I didn't have the Tennessee guy up there because I was like, well, but hey, they saw something in this guy, so take him. They need to shore up the offensive line. They got weapons. And
now you're adding DJ Moore to that lineup too. That's another great wide receiver to add to that team.
Yeah, now his overall grade though was like the 106th best player in the draft. So, but his pass block efficiency was 4th. So, and his pass blocking grade's pretty good, but I think those grades are probably due to the fact of running. So he's probably going to be the blind side guy for passing, I guess. They're going to have him on the, protecting his left side, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Right-handed quarterback. So.
Yeah. All right. While we wait for that pick, I want to bring Keith White back on because we actually have video of Keith White. He's not just a voice. Keith, you lost the Eagles pick. They moved up to get Jalen Carter. I know you didn't get a chance to talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts about that moving up, getting Jalen Carter from University of Georgia.
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
We can hear you fine, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So I was very shocked that they did this. I was expecting them to go with Bijan Robinson, who I think would just be this amazing complementary piece to their offense.
But he was taken before that, though.
See, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, the Falcons took him, surprisingly.
That's okay. Falcons needed so much more than that. Okay.
That's what we said too. We're like,
well, that's a damn shame. But Eagles fans should be happy because I really think they're getting this player with a lot of motor, and the character concerns aside, he's going to an organization that has good stability, with coaching and GM
Mhm.
and just a good organizational front office that's going to help make sure that he's on the right path. And I believe that they also have a fan base that if he produces on the field, they love Philly. You know how it is. Philly fans are really passionate, and so I think that he landed in a good spot. They're the NFC champions, and they had the 10th pick because of some trade moves. They're not an organization that's struggling by any sense of the word. So he's going to help them, retool their defense and keep their defense young, because they have guys right now that are long in the tooth, so to speak, for the defense. So that's a good pick on them. Smart move on their part.
Yeah, and we were talking before how the Eagles like to rotate those defensive tackles and
Yes.
defensive ends in. This is just another guy to put in that rotation.
Yeah, and it allows him also to kind of have that curve, that learning curve, and just kind of work in and get reps. I'm still cracking up over the Falcons with Bijan Robinson. Wow.
Yeah, it was a surprising pick, especially off all the stuff they needed.
Yeah,
very surprised he got taken there. Looks like Darnell Wright for Tennessee got picked. You were gonna say something?
and I got to go ahead and give credit where credit is due to Chicago. I mean, they're really starting to finally put some pieces around Justin Fields. At this point, you had Darnell Mooney, you have now DJ Moore. Didn't they also get another wide receiver, or am I mistaken?
Last year they traded for Chase Claypool from the Steelers, but I don't know how much of an impact that's been.
Well, I mean, if he's now like if he's the third guy, that allows him to do exactly what he was doing in Pittsburgh. So I mean, there it's not for lack of effort now on Chicago's part, where it looked like it really was. When Justin Fields first came in the league, he looked like he was set up to fail, which is what we talked about. We're worried about with CJ Stroud. We're worried about it with Bryce Young as well. I mean, that's exactly the situation that they're in going into, and I heard you mention when I was in the green room backstage, that I can't name any wide receivers on the Carolina Panthers as well.
No. So
it's really looking rough for them, but we'll see what happens. Darnell Mooney is a fantastic pick. I'm still Bijan Robinson. That's gonna mess with me all night. Well, the Falcons are going to be the Falcons, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, we're going to move back over to Chris Ellis because the Tennessee Titans pick are in. Chris Ellis has been when watching the Tennessee Titans. Who do you think here? Do you think it's going to be Will Levis, the quarterback, even though they just took Malik Willis last year?
Well, they let Ryan Tannehill go, if I'm correct.
I believe so.
Do they have another quarterback on the depth chart? I mean,
well, Malik Willis, so they drafted, I think, a second-round pick. I think Tannehill's still on, but they said he can seek a trade, I think. I think that's – which pretty much basically you're off the team.
Yeah, you're pretty much like, hi, thank you for your time for the last couple of years. Right. You had a good resurgence with us when you came over from Miami, I mean – Tennessee's probably like the Falcons in the same boat. They're going to do some weird thing here because I don't know what their identity is since Steve Fisher went away. Because it was running the ball in defense, and Steve McNair being the veteran quarterback. Now, what is their? I mean, Derrick Henry's even. They're trying to. There was talk today of Derrick Henry getting traded. So, I mean.
Well, I could see here also they're talking could be a wide receiver as well. I mean.
Well, if that's the case, then they're going to go after the guy, I think, from Ohio State.
Ohio State, right. But then again, I mean, the record for Tennessee Titans on wide receivers, I mean, they had A.J. Brown, and he did nothing for them. Goes to the Eagles, had a fantastic year already. I don't know if they just don't know how to use wide receivers in Tennessee, or they're not coaching them correctly, or what's going on down there in Tennessee for wide receivers.
There's certain teams that don't know how to use running backs. Like if you get drafted by the Saints, don't be a running back. Just don't be one.
Well, be a versatile running back. Like Kamara is a versatile running back.
Well, yeah, it matches that. But if you're a traditional running back between the tackles, don't go to So, I mean, Tennessee. I mean, they. I mean, like weird thing is they could go with tight end. I guess. I mean, too. I mean, because the guy from Georgia is a good blocking tight end, but he can also receive.
Yeah, but there's also a tight end for Notre Dame for your team that you like, Michael Mayer. I believe
Yeah.
tight end for Notre Dame could be a choice as well.
I like him. I like him over the other guy, but blocking wise, I'm actually going to say that the guy from Georgia's better as a run. The Georgia guy is more of a complete tight end, like back in the day tight end.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Notre Dame is more like your Tony Gonzalez,
Jimmy Graham things.
But but he can still pound you. You know, he's going to make you hurt.
Yeah.
The Georgia guy will actually stay in the box and block.
Right. Well, we're waiting on the pick for the Tennessee Titans. It says the pick is in. We're just waiting on to see who that is. We'll see. We're up to, what is it, about 9:30 right now. Still got 30 more minutes on our show. We're not going to go through the whole first round today because we all have bedtimes.
Well,
but we're going to go as far as possible.
They're talking about the guy from Northwestern offensive tackle.
Yeah, Peter Skoronsky.
And these are his ranks. These are his rankings. His overall grade was 6th.
Mm-hmm.
His pass and pass blocking were in the 99 percentile.
Okay.
So that obviously tells you that maybe that team should have took this guy instead of the other guy.
Yeah. Well, and no matter what offensive line you get from Northwestern, you know they're going to be able to run block. I mean, Northwestern is always that tough team.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a hard-nosed guy. You know, another guy who can block for Derrick Henry, but not a sexy pick, but we'll see what they decide to do here with this pick on the Titans team. It looks like the best available is Christian Gonzalez. Nobody's taken him yet. I think you're going to start seeing a run on corners here a little bit later in the draft, especially when you get down to my Giants and some of those other teams late in the teens. I think you'll see a run on corners as well. We haven't seen one go off the board so far.
Yeah, I think you got corners and tight ends will be going to be picked.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I think Green Bay might pick up a tight end for Jordan Love to have someone that can catch the ball short, intermediate. New England's probably shaking their head, going, "What happened to BJ?" Because they were big on Robinson.
So if you think Tennessee is going to take an offensive lineman here, do you think they think Malik Willis is the answer at quarterback?
I don't think he is.
No, I don't either.
I mean, I know Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback that could come in and play for you is on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take the offensive lineman, why not bring in Teddy and see if he can work with, Malik, because they both played in the same kind of system in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Malik's a little bit taller than Bridgewater.
There's the pick. It's the offensive lineman from Northwestern, Peter Skoronsky.
Hey,
Skoronsky is the pick. Yes,
you got to protect your quarterback. So
you do. Now you just got to get a quarterback, though. So one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right. So it is time now to bring back Card Shark Chris, because it is time for the Detroit Lions. Finally, we're going to get a pick for the Lions. You guys had 2 first-round picks last year, I believe.
They traded up. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know what they're going to do right here. There might be a chance that they're going to, because they got some good edge rushers still on the board. They've got Christian Gonzalez. So
they rolled the dice with another first-round corner.
Possibly. And to be honest with you, I mean, you're looking at Dalton Kincaid sitting there as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking at what they have picked 12 and 18.
Correct, 12 and 18.
And they have a ton of picks on the back end as well too, so they could even use one of those and package 18, move up. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, ESPN is showing their needs are defensive tackle, defensive end, inside linebacker, tight end, and running. I don't see why running back would be a need for them, really.
Maybe in the late rounds, possibly, but I just think they threw that up there. They've got some decent backup running backs, Craig Reynolds. They just picked up the Montgomery kid.
Ty Montgomery? The old
No,
Packer?
no, they have David Montgomery. Well, let me look. I
Oh,
got the
David
roster.
Montgomery from Chicago.
Yes, from Chicago. I
Okay.
thought. Yes, and then Craig Reynolds is decent. DeAndre Swift. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully, as a comeback year. And they have Greg Bell also on the roster.
Greg Bell,
So,
the running back from the 80s for the Rams?
yeah, no. This is running back. Yeah, from the Rams, Greg Bell. I remember Greg Bell. He was, I believe, no, Nick Bell was out of
Nick
Iowa.
Bell was out of Iowa, went for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, first round pick. That didn't do much.
Bust.
All right, well, the pick is in for the Lions, so they're not trading it. So we will see who they pick. Who's your selection?
I'm guessing Gonzalez, but I wouldn't be surprised. It could happen. Like, I don't think they can really go wrong right now. They got a ton of needs sitting right in front of them that they can pick from.
What about? I mean, they like Notre Dame guys. It seems like sometimes. What about that Michael Mayer maybe?
That could be a possibility too.
And they always like picking Michigan. Is there any Michigan State players you think they're going to go in the first round this year?
No, definitely not in the first round.
No. Okay.
Yeah, Jaden Reed might go like fourth or fifth.
Okay.
And they have some other guys too that might get drafted.
There it is. The pick. Jamar Gibbs. What position? Oh, is he a running back? Yes, he's a running back from Alabama.
Yeah, Jamar. He started at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
And he is a very, very good running back. It's interesting. Okay. What can I say?
It's your team, man. Are you happy? I mean, it's a splashy pick.
Yeah,
but you probably could have got him at 18, probably.
Yeah, well, possibly. Yeah. And it just doesn't seem unless they're packaging Swifty and moving him on, or don't expect him to.
Yeah, maybe there's some injury news that they know that we don't.
Yeah. So that's peculiar. I mean, I like Jamar Gibbs as a running back. I really do. Unexpected. Worries me a little bit because it seems kind of Matt Millen-ish, kind of or Pat Quinn or whatever the Quinn guy was before. We've had so many bad GMs. I can't even remember the names.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. I am kind of bummed, honestly, man. So I was hoping for something a little different, but we'll see how it turns out.
All right, sounds good. Card Shark Chris, we'll be back with you in a little bit. Let's bring our buddy on, Keith White, because it is time for the Packers. A whole new era is getting ready to start for Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Jordan Love's taking over. What are you looking at for the Packers, Keith?
So I think that the best move is to definitely surround Jordan Love with weapons. And so I'm wondering if they go wide out here. I'm wondering if they go safety valve tight end like Card Shark Chris was mentioning, because you do need that safety valve. And I'm going to treat Jordan Love as a rookie, even though he's not necessarily in years in the NFL. But this is his first time really, truly in the spotlight. This is his team. The pressure is immense. He's not replacing one Hall of Fame quarterback. He's replacing a succession of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Green Bay has had Hall of Fame quarterbacks since the early 90s now. So, that's a lot of pressure.
And they had the Magic Man, Don Mikowski. Let's not forget Don Mikowski before Brett Favre.
Oh, the Magic Man!
Love Don Mikowski there.
It's not an ideal situation for him. His scrutiny was intense when he got picked back in the second round years back. This is not ideal for him in terms of the pressure. So but here's Matt. Here's what would be interesting, right? Wouldn't it be a gigantic middle finger and FU if the Packers actually went offensive weapon on this pick and denied Aaron Rodgers all these years and the head scratching picks that they had to try and get him some extra help? And now they're just like, oh, Jordan Love, yeah, we got you, buddy. What do you need? What do you want?
Right. Could this be a spot here for the first wide receiver taken off? The kid from Ohio State, Jackson?
Isn't there also a guy named Addison? Wasn't he top rated or no?
Johnson. I don't see Addison. I mean, every website's a little bit different, but
Sure.
wide receivers, I see Quentin Johnson from TCU,
Yep.
Zay Flowers from Boston College.
Yep.
But the top wide receiver I see is a kid from Ohio State, Jackson Smith Najiba, I think his name is.
Yeah, I've always mispronounced his name. That kid, he's got a fantastic route tree. He also has the best hands in the draft. He's the most ready. He doesn't have top end speed, but he has game speed, and he gets great separation. So I'm looking at him almost like a Jordy Nelson type situation. And to compare, or even I guess Randall Cobb, because Randall Cobb, his speed, I guess, deteriorated quickly, but he always had.
Yeah, he used to be pretty fast, though.
Yeah, but like I think after a while he became known for his hands. So that kind of guy. I think that's probably the move that they should make in terms of like you need to be a little bit conservative. With Jordan Love, you don't want boom or bust players. You want guys that can come in and contribute immediately. And so wide receiver, that's your move. Right. So tight end, go ahead.
I was just going to say ESPN has their needs at wide receiver, tight end, safety, outside linebacker, and defensive tackle.
Okay.
So they believe wide receiver is also their top need.
Yeah, tight end wise, I don't think you can go wrong still in this draft. I think that they got you've got at least 2 or 3 quality tight ends. I still think is it Mayer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still think he ends up in Dallas. I think that's just going to be the situation that happens. But this draft has shown us that we know nothing. I mean, you've definitely nailed some picks, but for the most part, we know nothing. This has been a pretty awesome.
Especially with the running backs. The running backs have really thrown a big wrinkle into things.
Yeah. What is this, 1994? It's very interesting that they've done this, but the backs that were supposed to go later, proving that we truly don't know the mind of the GM and what they value. I mean, you watched the defensive players slide. We knew Jalen Carter was going to slide with the character concerns, but Wilson, we didn't expect to slide as much as he did. I love these trades. I'll be interested when the dust clears and I can actually look at it in the morning. I can't wait to see like what teams gave up, like what were the packages. And I think the jury's still out. I don't know if they've ever shown the amount what Lamar was his extension for today. I didn't catch that. But I'll be
in a second here.
Sure.
$260 million with 185 guaranteed million for it looks like I don't know how many years it is, but it's quite a few years.
It's 5 years, I think, and that's okay. That's not.
Oh, here's the pick: Lucas Van Ness, a defensive end from Iowa, 272 pounds, 6'5". We were not calling Lucas. He looks like a man. He looks like I don't know if you can see his picture on here, but a kid looks like a model.
That's see, and what do we know? Because that was farther back on the needs, right? That's so interesting. Well, good for them, I guess. Yep. And who's up next? The Jets?
No, we're going to the Patriots. We're going to go over to Card Chart Chris here. We'll be back with Keith here in a little bit. Card Chart Chris, before we talk about the Patriots, you're a Big Ten guy. What do you know about Lucas Van Ness?
I think he's just like your typical Iowa defensive lineman. The guy's huge. Can play the run, rushes the passer fairly well. I think that's a good fit, and that's a good pick. I mean, great size. Comes from a pro-style defensive system. They don't do anything super flashy, but they do everything really well for the most part over there in Iowa.
Yeah, that's pretty much every Iowa player does everything pretty well. So, all right, let's talk about the Patriots. They are on the clock. We're not used to the Patriots selecting so high. What is Bill Belichick going to do with that 14th pick here?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't see Bill Belichick trying to get away from Mac Jones. I think they're pretty committed to him. Mm-hmm. They definitely need an offensive lineman. They got to get someone to protect Matt Jones. So there's possibility of that. They've got Broderick Jones out here from Georgia. ESPN is claiming is their best fit. Best available is Kristen Gonzalez, who, like Bijan Robinson, has kind of been in that spot for a little while.
Yep.
So you got to figure what's going on there. But it is really. It looks like the pick is in too.
Oh yeah, the picks did a pick. No, it got traded to the Steelers.
Oh, to the Steelers.
All right,
Interesting.
to the Steelers. So we're gonna leave Card Shark Chris because we're gonna go over to Chris Ellis. We were gonna talk about the Steelers picking 17, but they have moved up. What player do you think they are targeting with that moving up that quick?
I think they're going corner here. I think they're going to go cornerback
with Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez or Joey Porter Jr.
Well, I mean, they like Penn State. They like to stay in Pennsylvania. They like Pennsylvania guys, but I think if you're moving up, you got to be taking somebody. Like, I think Joey Porter would have been there at 17 for him or close to it.
Well, either that or they're going to go take the receiver from Ohio State.
Yeah, that could be another spot for them because they probably could use some wide receivers.
They could use some wide receivers, definitely. I mean, I think they have Pat from Penn State as their tight end, if I remember right, the guy. So, I mean, the only reason I'm thinking they might go Joey Porter Jr. is because they were around senior a lot during the combine, their coaching staffs and stuff, watching his son and getting some stuff from his dad. So,
well, his dad played for the Steelers too.
Yeah. So exactly, why not go to the source of the,
Yeah.
So
ESPN is showing offensive tackle and corner are their top two needs. So could be a place for Joey Porter. The pick is in. We're going to wait to see who it is.
I mean, you can't go wrong with either cornerback, I don't think, at this. Right. To
me, I'm thinking it might be offensive lineman because I think they could have got one of the corners at 17. I think if you're moving up, you're taking somebody at a position that there's not a lot of depth to. So I'm thinking maybe offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, linemen and corners during this draft are like very slim because there's plenty of tight ends.
Yeah,
because there's like 7 tight ends that people said that are first round like tight ends. But you're not going to have 7 tight ends drafted in the first round. It's just not going to happen. So, but I think, you still got to get. I mean, the offensive line you definitely need to improve for Najee Harris. I mean, if you're going to have him run, you definitely need that improvement. But
yeah, definitely. We'll see who the pick is going to be. The Steelers don't usually take wide receivers in the first round.
No,
they do a great job of drafting wide receivers though. But they usually draft them in rounds 2, 3, and 4, and they usually get a great wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, like I think they need someone that a lot of these quarterbacks need possession receivers, like a Ricky Prohl type or a John Taylor type, to take the burden off their elite receivers instead of like, hey, just go out and run. We don't need the replacements, and all of a sudden. Elephant glue guns, on wide receiver hand,
Right. So, well, my prediction, I think it's going to be that Jones kid, the offensive tackle. I think that's going to be the pick end up for the Steelers. That's my pick. You're going Joey Porter Jr., which I think might be a good pick too.
I mean,
he's up here in Penn State country. It is Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle. I thought, I mean, if they really wanted a corner, they could have stayed at 17 and got a corner.
I mean, they gave the Patriots the 17th and the 120th pick. So, okay. I mean, the guy from Georgia's good. I mean, he's proved it in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, and the thing was, you've seen some other offensive tackles taken off, and the offensive tackles were starting to get a little scarce, the top ones. But the Jets are on the clock, and you actually are going to be following the Jets for us. Aaron Rodgers is in town. I'm telling you what a trade. They bring it, and this is the second time they brought in a Packers legend quarterback. Let's hope it goes a little bit better than the first time.
Well, I don't think there's going to be picks of anybody's nether regions going into any women.
Well, hopefully not.
So, and plus he's not getting sought out by the FBI or the IRS right now. So that's
a good true. So what do you think the Packers are going to do here with this pick? I mean, offensive tackle, they're talking maybe this is actually the spot for a center. for them.
Yeah.
You either got to get Aaron Rodgers a weapon, or you got to get Aaron Rodgers an offensive lineman to protect.
Well, I know Aaron Rodgers likes having weapons, and I know he likes receivers. So
Mhm.
if Aaron's in talks with them, he's going to want as many weapons as he can have. But the Jets have some good weapons.
Mhm.
I mean, Brees Hall, if he comes back healthy, you got
they signed Valdez Scantling from Kansas City, who used to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Didn't they bring in Randall Cobb too, or not?
They're still talking about that, but they brought didn't they bring in they brought in somebody.
Yeah. They brought in everybody Aaron Rodgers likes, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think tight end would be an interesting pick for them because they could get a possession receiving tight end easily and a blocking / possession receiver tight end. Center, if they're lacking on center, that's a very important position, especially for Aaron. He's not going to want a guy. I think he wants more. I don't think he would want a rookie center because I don't think he wants to have to teach the rookie center.
No. But I don't think he wants a rookie. He doesn't like. I don't think he likes rookie wide receivers either. Like his team last year was all rookie wide receivers, and he did not look like he had fun.
No, I mean that's the bad thing about Green Bay. They like okay, we'll give you your receivers now instead of like giving them when like hey we can like mold them a little bit.
Yep.
So I mean they got Wilson. I mean the Jets had one of the best drafts last year. Period. I mean what they get here now, are they better than the Bills and even the Dolphins right now? I mean,
I think with Aaron Rodgers, I think they could be I think they're probably a wild card team.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't see them winning the division though.
I mean, it's just one of those things, how much better is that team now? Now if you keep Zach Wilson and let him learn behind Rodgers, I think it would be a great thing.
And keep Zach Wilson away from Aaron Rodgers' mother. That would help too.
Yes, but yes, that would be. Yeah, but if you could let him learn instead of like, here, you're the starting quarterback, I think that would help him in the long run, and he would be more. He wouldn't have to. It would. I think that would improve that because I think they still have Flacco on the depth chart.
Possibly, but I have a feeling that he'll probably get released. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, Flacco's already got made. He's got 2 Super Bowls, so I mean, he's not complaining. Right. So I mean, but it's just one of those things. You just go and look at it. It's like, is this really the best spot that Aaron could have went to?
Right? Yeah. ESPN is showing the best fit as defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey from Pittsburgh, 6'1", 281 pounds. Of course, the best overall available is still Christian Gonzalez. I don't see him taking a corner, but you never know what they're going to do. I really think Aaron Rodgers is probably making this pick. Like they're asking Aaron Rodgers, "What do you want? Which guy do you want?" And he's going to make this draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, they got Sauce at corner, which had a great rookie year.
Right.
I mean, you had both the rookie and rookie offensive and decent defensive players last year out of the first round.
Yeah.
Lo and behold. And now, I mean, could you imagine if they get the other corner, though, to play on the opposite side of Sauce? Sure. Now you got, I mean, because Sauce will obviously take the best receiver. So that corner is not, Well,
we'll see what the Jets do. They have 2 minutes on the clock. We're still waiting on the pick on that one. We'll see what the Jets here will do. After the Jets, we're going to go to the Commanders. See what the Commanders will be doing. But waiting on the Jets. Who's Aaron Rodgers going to pick? That's what I want to know. I think it's going to be a center. I personally, who's that top center on here? Looks like John Michael Schmitz, maybe from Minnesota. I think is the top center. 6'3", 301.
Okay. I mean Minnesota. I mean cold weather.
Yeah.
Plays in a tough defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he might be the pick, but
Yeah.
who knows who they're gonna pick? I don't know.
On one station, it's got tackle and linebacker best needs, and I'm like, well, I mean, you can go out and get a linebacker. I mean,
yeah. Surprisingly, we have not seen a linebacker taken. I mean, linebackers have really dropped in drafts now. You don't see linebackers taken in the top 10 anymore.
no.
It's all defensive end. You know, for defense, it's all defensive ends and maybe a safety once in a while.
Or you got
linebackers, you don't see them often anymore.
Or you got a guy that played safety and is transformed into a linebacker.
Yeah.
Like Urlacher was, because he was at Mexico, and it was like.
But even then, when Urlacher was drafted, that was back in early 2000. That was what 2000, I think, or 99. Yeah. I think it was 2000.
It was the same year as Brady.
Yeah, so that kind of draft is totally different nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
So the pick is in for the Jets. We will see who the Jets select here. With I don't know what pick number this is. I think this is what pick 15. I think this is one of the picks they got. They switched picks with the Packers on the Aaron Rodgers trade, I believe. From this 15th. They originally had the 13th pick.
I don't think Green Bay made out in this trade very well at all.
Well, it might be it might be a benefit for them with a subtraction of Aaron Rodgers. I think it was time for them to move on from Aaron Rodgers, start the Jordan Love era, see what they got. Because Aaron Rodgers has not been happy for the last 3 or 4 years in Green Bay.
No.
And I think whatever you could get for him, go for it, because I think now's your chance for Jordan Love to show what he can do.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Love now is put up, shut up, moment is now. It's like, now you get to learn what the NFL is really like.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Jordan Love because I got some nice rookie cards of him that I'd like to sell if he does well.
That's the thing about it. It's like there's certain rookies you're looking at. And it's like these guys should be, if they're in the right system with the right mindset and stuff. That it's just you just hate to see guys getting drafted and all of a sudden they're going to a losing situation.
Yeah,
it's just what do you do? It's like you want to pull for the guy, but you're like, man.
Right. All right, it is coming up. We're waiting on the Jets pick. Jets are really a lot of slow teams. It's 9:58. I think I'd like to stay on for at least Card Shark Chris can talk about the Lions at 18. Yeah, so I think we'll stay on to at least the 18th pick, and then we'll call it quits after the 18th pick. The Card Shark Chris looks like he doesn't care about the 18th pick. So
it's like, who are you going to be collecting?
Yeah.
This?
Oh, let's bring Card Shark Chris. Would you like to stick around for the 18th pick, Card Shark Chris?
I would love to, except for I probably won't be awake. I'll probably fall right asleep, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, if I like to try to stick around for the 18th pick, because then you can fall asleep happy with a really good pick by the Lions. All right, I want
there
this. I know. As a Lions fan, this is your night to shine. So we got to do that for you. Any idea who you think the Jets might pick here?
Really.
No idea, right?
Yeah, you know what? I really don't, man. I don't. I wish I paid more attention to the NFL. I pay attention to the Lions.
Yeah.
But you guys know trades from last year and stuff. Man, I can't.
We make some of this up, I think, actually. So, but
okay.
You do know the college players a lot better than I do. Those Big Ten guys, and I couldn't tell you half of those guys. So I appreciate you being on to talk about these Big Ten guys because that helps out quite a bit. Plus, you live in the state of Georgia, so you kind of know the Georgia players as well.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear about around town, Maybe at the varsity. Have you ever been to the varsity? I've always wanted to go to the varsity.
That's so funny. You mentioned that. I've never been to there's multiple locations. I've never been to the one. Oh, we got the pick is in.
Oh, we got the pick. All right. Let's go back to Chris Ellis. The pick is in. It is Will McDonald the fourth, and outside. We were just talking about linebackers. They take an outside linebacker from Iowa State. What do you think about that, Chris Ellis?
Well, they got him as an edge here. So,
Okay.
As a, someone that follows the so-called Big 12 or Big 10 plus two that don't have two, he's not a bad guy. I mean, he can rush. He's got some learning to do, though. I mean, because I think he's going to be overpowered a little bit from some of the bigger guys at first. But for Iowa State, he was definitely a player. I mean, he made some people at Iowa feel, you didn't want me? Okay, Iowa, I'm going to have a nice day with you. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, even in his spin move is like, he's so small though. His spin move looks like he's going around the guy underneath the guy's arms. Mm-hmm. So it's like, is that going to hurt him? I mean, because he has 35-inch arms and he's explosive off the line, but he's very skinny, and that's the thing. Yeah. So this obviously wasn't an Aaron Rodgers pick because I don't think he was an edge.
Yeah. So, all right, Chris Ellis, it is time for the Washington Commanders. We're going to bring our buddy Keith White on. Washington Commanders. The pick's already in. Holy cow. Washington's not messing around. What do you think here with Keith with the 16th pick?
Washington is one of the biggest mysteries, I think, of the entire draft because they have so many needs, in my opinion. They're going with Sam Howell as the quarterback, and good on them, but good Lord,
who are they going with the quarterback?
Sam Howell.
Who's that?
Exactly.
I have no idea who that is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, do you think this is the chance for Will Levis to get drafted here?
I don't, because they sound like they're going all in on Sam Howell. And so for me, I mean, the fact that Christian Gonzalez keeps sliding, I'm very surprised at the Jets pick. That guy, I didn't have him even on my radar. It's almost like a luxury pick for them, I guess. But also at the same time, who am I to question Robert Saleh and a top 5 defense in the league? So if he's going to be a fit, then fantastic. But I mean, why not Christian Gonzalez for the Washington Commanders? Why not Joey Porter Jr.? But if Christian Gonzalez is higher rated, grab Christian Gonzalez. I think this needs to be a best player available for the Washington Commanders. It says the pick is in, so we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see what's happening. I mean, Washington for having such, not name brand quarterbacks, they've done really well record wise. I mean, they were 8-8 last year in a really tough NFC East. I mean, the NFC East was balling last year, and Washington Commanders were right there with 8-8.
And they're 2 or 3 years away from removed from being a playoff team. Mm-hmm. So give credit where credit is due. But it's so interesting because they do, in a way, they overachieve with a lot of like not name brand guys.
Yeah.
Do they still have that top receiver? Is he still on the team? I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
Oh, Scary Terry.
Yes. Yeah.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. I mean, they had this running back room of guys who they could just, it was almost like every year plug and play, like the one guy that ran himself out of the league with his domestic violence BS. And then they got somebody else and they got somebody else. Like they just always seem to be, at least with running back, be able to replace guys who produce. So I'll be interested to see what they do if they go defense or offense here.
Yeah. Speaking of Washington running backs, it always reminds me of when they had Fat Rob Kelly. His nickname was Fat Rob. What a weird name for good name for an offensive lineman, defensive tackle, but a running back. It's kind of weird.
As the Macho Man Randy Savage once said, he had a cup of coffee in the big time.
He actually did pretty decent, though.
Yeah, he
wasn't bad.
No,
so.
But you remember Brandon Jacobs was also
love Brandon Jacobs. Love Brandon Jacobs, man. Love it. When he was a rookie, I mailed him a card. He signed it, sent it back to me. So. Love me some Brandon Jacobs.
He was Derrick Henry before there was Derrick Henry,
He was, man. He was. I loved him.
Yeah.
All right, we're waiting on the Washington Commanders pick. Of course, Washington's really big in the news right now about, looks like they're going to get sold. a couple people are bidding on the team for a new owner. Daniel Snyder is finally leaving, which I know makes all the Washington fans that I know happy. They are not big Daniel Snyder fans, so hopefully they can get some good ownership in there pretty soon.
And that's another thing too. Like they've been succeeding in spite of bad ownership. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the culture change comes in.
Yeah, and I mean this is still a Daniel Snyder pick, really. And he's still controlling the team and everything. So see what he comes up with. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Will Levis. I know you're big on Sam Howell. Sam Howell, I looked up, played at the University of North Carolina. Did set records at North Carolina for throwing and everything. But
I'm not big on Sam Howell.
Okay, Washington is. Okay, your insiders are telling you Washington is big on Sam Howell.
Yeah, that's what they keep talking about. They keep saying he's our guy. He might have even started for them for the playoffs last year. Or I'm sorry, when they weren't they going at the end of the season to almost do like a wild card or something like that?
I think they were close to the wild card, but I don't think they got in.
But he I think he may have led them to some winning games, or maybe what's the other guy I'm thinking of?
I think it was Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah.
But Hal, they were just like, yeah, we're going with Hal. So
yeah.
It is what it is. The funny thing is, I don't see Ron Rivera sticking around. Here we go.
Oh, here is the pick. It is Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback from Mississippi State, 6'1", 166. Did not see that coming, did you?
Over Gonzalez and 166.
And Joey Porter Jr. over Joey Porter Jr. too.
And 166, that's a string bean.
Yeah.
Wow. What did Christian Gonzalez do to piss off the league?
He played at Oregon. He played in Oregon. I think that was it.
We're not worthy.
I know.
Good job. Good one on that one.
This
is mind-boggling. This is a serious slip for him, man.
Definitely.
And Porter Jr., we were expecting to be at that Steelers spot, the original one.
Right. Yeah, we kind of thought that was. All right.
New England's already in.
Yeah, they are already in. Let's go over to Card Shark Chris. New England is back on the clock. Their pick is in, Card Shark Chris. They traded down. Of course, that's a big Patriot thing to do. Who do you think they have here at, I don't even know what pick number we're at. I think 17.
17, yeah. It would appear that their plan work to perfection if their pick is in that quickly. ESPN says Nolan Smith.
Wasn't he a basketball player at University of North Carolina?
I couldn't tell you. I have no clue. I have no clue. Okay. So I could definitely see that working out too. They need offensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, defensive tackle.
There's a lot of good corners out there right now.
There are. So ESPN's predicting the best available, Christian Gonzalez. Nolan Smith is the best fit. I wouldn't be surprised to see either one go there. As far as like a sleeper pick, possibly
Joey Porter.
Possibly Joey Porter.
I'm hoping Joey Porter drops to my Giants. That's what I'm kind of hoping, actually. So, but we're not picking until 25th.
Yeah. Oh man, this one's a tough one. I'm just gonna go with Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith. It is Christian Gonzalez.
There you
Gonzalez has finally picked the corner. I think they saw that and they jumped on that right away. So Christian Gonzalez is the newest New England Patriot cornerback. I mean, you're going to need one when you're playing Buffalo with Stephon Diggs and all those wide receivers, and now the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. You're going to need another corner up there.
You really do. And looking at their depth chart right now, you have Jonathan Jones and Miles Bryant as the starting cornerbacks. Jabril Peppers is a safety, and Kyle Duggar. So he will be right in the mix, I believe, to start right away for them. So it looks like it worked out really good for New England. So Belichick still has the plan.
He does. All right, Card Shark Chris, this is going to be our last pick we're going to follow tonight. Number 18, the Detroit Lions. I want to know what the Lions are saying. Best available is Will Levis. Or do you think they're going to go with the tight? You think they're going to go with the tight end Dalton Kennard, I believe.
This is I did. You know what? I was so thrown off by the Jamar Gibbs pick that I'm not holding out a lot of hope. I don't like. I want them to go defense really, really bad right here.
Mhm.
So as far as best available left on the board, is defensively, and of course it's going to take a while for me to load up.
I mean, there's
Nolan Smith.
corners, of course, available, but I mean, you're probably looking at defensive end, I'm guessing, or defensive tackle.
Defensive end, defensive tackle, or even linebacker. So Nolan Smith might get a little play here. They have Cansey, the kid from Pittsburgh.
What about safety? Or how are they on safety?
As far as safety goes, they have Tracy Walker the third, and they just signed C.J. Gardner Johnson.
Okay.
And there was Kirby Joseph, who also had some really nice plays, big turnovers for them, who was a rookie last year. So I think they're all right there. It wouldn't hurt to get a cornerback right now. But
Wow.
as far as linebackers, you got Malcolm Rodriguez. James Houston is the starting outside linebacker. So I could see a Nolan fitting in there.
A Nolan Smith in there. Okay.
I hope. So
who knows what the Lions are going to do? Let's bring out, since this will be our last pick, I'm going to bring everybody on. See if we can get everybody on here at once. Chris Ellis, who do you think? I know you're not following the Lions. Give me a prediction for the Detroit Lions here on this pick.
Well, I would take the best player on the board.
Will Levis?
Yeah, not Levis, not a quarterback.
Okay.
I don't think they need to take a quarterback. I mean, they got Goff, and I would not blow his confidence in drafting a quarterback. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want that to the guy. Mm-hmm. I would like to see Porter get drafted hopefully soon, but I mean, go with the tight end from Georgia.
Tight end from Georgia, whoever his name is. All right, Keith White, who do you think the Lions are going to take with this last pick that we're going to follow tonight?
I mean, I think that Joey Porter fits the mindset of the new, because Detroit is now has a winning culture. Detroit is a team we have to look out for this year. Mm-hmm. To be very honest, it's a scary looking team. It's only going to get better because the culture is changing. So Porter to me, fits. But I think that they need to go with the tight end. So I think Dalton Kincaid as well. Just because you got to replace Hawkinson, and you got to give Goff as many weapons as possible. So that mixed in with Gibbs, I think think about that, right? This is 4 or 5 years that you get these players before you have to pay them again. So that's a nice little situation to have for the next 4 or 5 years. Goff or whoever ends up being the quarterback of the Lions in the foreseeable future, but please not leave us.
All right, the pick is in. My prediction is the Notre Dame tight end. I'm going Michael Mayer.
He's good too.
Because Detroit likes picking Midwest guys. Like, isn't that right, Card Shark Chris? Like, you don't see them picking guys from Penn State. It's always Midwest guys.
Yeah, they kind of grab from all over. But the thing is I would love, as much as I love Ford Field and it's loud and rowdy, I would love for them to play outside and take advantage of the cold weather, like Green Bay does. But that's not going to happen at all. So, but I think that the point about Jared Goff is absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. You don't want to, because you're going to get one of his best years, and he's done nothing but just be exactly what Detroit needed. Mm-hmm. He's played well within himself. He's been a leader on the team, but he also hasn't tried to be the man on the team. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really good for Detroit. I don't plan on I don't see them giving him any kind of like a huge contract. Now, if there's success this year and they go to the playoffs and maybe win a playoff game, I could see Jared Goff giving Detroit a hometown discount to stay there and to play. But the addition of any of these, they have, again, with the draft capital and they have players, they can move some players that they have drafted recently, especially in the later rounds, who don't have large contracts who have potential, bundle them with all the draft picks that they have later on in the draft, and still get players in need. And we'll take a guy like a Dalton Kincaid, or as Chris Ellis mentioned, or one of the gentlemen, I apologize, mentioned
the Georgia tight end.
Yeah, the tight end out of Georgia. So they have multiple situations here that would work out.
I mean, their offense was great last year. I mean, their offense was explosive.
It was. And after listening to Keith talk about Jamar Gibbs and mentioning his speed, that makes me, because I think we're going into year 3 or year 4. Yeah, this will be start of year 4 for Swifty.
Mm-hmm.
So, with a Jamar Gibbs coming in there with that little, speed, the little jitterbug, this can kind of take over a Swifty's spot, can challenge him for it, and then you can package. Also, some team at trade deadline or even in this draft might, be interested in him.
And Detroit's had a long history of running backs getting injured after Barry Sanders, left. Their running backs have had one good year, and the next year they're hurt and stuff. So you need to have at least 2 in there that can play.
Yeah, and I remember James Stewart when he signed right after Barry. James Stewart was, a phenomenal back for Jacksonville, and he came in and he had a great season for Detroit. Hurt, and it was all over.
Yep, and then they had there was a couple guys they drafted and had great first seasons, and then next year they're just.
Man, I remember watching Javid Best.
All those guys.
Yep, Kevin Best, Javid Best. He was another one. They signed a running back. He was out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. He played some time with the Cleveland. His last name was Crowell, I think, Isaiah Crowell or something like that. And he ended up having a brain tumor and was playing really well for him and has a brain tumor. So there's been just some terrible luck to go along with some terrible management and decisions in the front office.
Well, I think your team is on the mend. I predict the Lions will be a playoff team, I think, this year. I think that's going to be in. The pick is in for the Lions. We are still waiting on who the pick is. It is Jack Campbell. Who is Jack Campbell? Is a linebacker from Iowa, Big Ten guy. Like I said, they like the Big Ten guys. 6'5", 249. What's your feeling, Card Chart? I mean, you guys kind of need a defense, so
yeah, absolutely. I think when they drafted Malcolm Rodriguez Rodriguez last year, and you see how smart the guy is and how instinctive and quick that he plays. When they draft a guy I forgot his name already, Jack Campbell, moved off the screen, and instead of a Jalen Carter, that tells me that Jack Campbell's going to fit their system. They like how he reads the plays. Coming from Iowa, Iowa linebackers are thumpers.
Yep.
That's what I think of when an Iowa, I don't necessarily think sideline to sideline. I think a thumper, a guy who's going to get up there and stick his nose in it. And so that will help because they have a pass rushing guy in, Aiden Hutchinson that they can send in, plays that, on the other side there. So
definitely on that.
I don't hate it.
All right, Card Chart Chris, I want to thank you for being on tonight. Of course, you can check out Card Chart Chris on his YouTube channel. What do you got coming up on your YouTube channel, Card Chart Chris?
Just been playing baseball. Probably start opening up some more sports cards. You got
a lot of hot boxes.
Got a few of those left too. I'm just trying to, get back to the. I think I had 6 one time that I had to bust open. I've only got 3 right now, so I'm working on letting them marinate a little bit.
Okay, marinate a little bit. Okay, so hopefully you get something good in those. All right, Card Shark Chris, I want to thank you for being on, sir. I appreciate it. Let's go over to Chris Ellis, the card guy. Your first time on the NFL draft, little extra edition. You can check out Chris Ellis, card guy, on YouTube as well. What do you have coming up on your YouTube channel, Chris Ellis?
Actually, I'll probably be doing a baseball one tomorrow on on a guy that's not very popular, but show different guys to collect tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna do one on I might do one on Edgar Martinez tomorrow and talk about it, so and do that. And hopefully my son and I can do another show together soon. So
yeah, especially with your once the NFL draft is over, what you guys thought about the whole NFL draft.
Yeah. So Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have, you know, I'm sure he's liked where his guys that he wants to collect went to, so
Mm.
so he's probably happy right now. So
Yeah, probably. So, what'd you think about your first time on the Monday Night Huddle for the NFL Draft Special? Did you enjoy that?
yes, it was very,
Yes.
it was very, very, very elegant. You know, we were better
Yes.
than Mel Kiper, obviously.
Oh, definitely. We're 10 times better than Mel Kiper. And plus, you guys are a lot cheaper than Mel Kiper.
Oh
Because I
God,
can't afford Mel Kiper.
we can, and we make a whole lot better decisions.
Yes, we do. So, all right, Chris Ellis, I want to thank you for being on. That is all the time we got for tonight, guys. I want to thank everybody for being on our show. Keith White had to sign off a little early. You can catch out Keith White at TNT Games, and he's playing music up and down the East Coast. So check him out for Keith White. Check out Card Shark Chris on his YouTube channel, and Chris Ellis, a card guy, on YouTube channel as well. Guys, it is past my bedtime. I need to get to sleep because I got to get to work tomorrow. So I'm going to be signing off. We'll be back this Monday, actually. Here, not even too many more days. We'll be opening up some new packs here on the Monday Night Huddle show. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and hit the like button on Facebook. Again, every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Check us out, and check out our website for our sponsor, which is near and dear to my heart, hotboxcards.net, your online sports card subscription service. You want to get sports cards sent directly to your door? Check out hotboxcards.net. All right, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight. Be safe, and hopefully you can enjoy the rest of the NFL draft tomorrow and Saturday as well.